It's a bit of a different video here. Today I'm going to be showing you the performance of the i3 5020U in 2024. Spoiler alert, this processor has not aged very good. So before we get in too much farther into the video, let's go over the specs. I apologize for the dirty screen. I also apologize for these random lines. I do not have a capture card because I'm piss poor broke. So this is just gonna have to do until I get a capture card. Anyways, we have a amazing 2 cores, 4 threads, and 2.2 gigahertz, which really isn't that much. Yeah, you might be able to get away with basic web browsing, but as you will see in a little bit, not so much gaming. When it was new, you could do some light gaming. Nowadays, not so much. Yeah, that's another glitch. 1 minute until fully charged. Yeah, I don't think so. Anyways, here are the specs, more in-depth specs for the i3. We have TDP of 15, configurable down of 10. This is a 15 TDP model, 15 watt. I already checked. As you can see, dual cores. Wow, this is really bad. All these lines. I'm sorry. Discontinued 2015. It was launched. Oh my god, this is really bad. That's a little better. Maximum of 16 gigs of DDR3. I'm halfway there, as I'll show you in a little bit. Intel HD 5500. What a powerhouse, right? Holy crap. I have a hard time believing this thing can drive a 4K display when it can barely drive a 1366 by 768 display. Anyways, here's your processor, as we already saw. 8 gigs of 1600 megahertz DDR3. This originally came with a 1 terabyte hard drive, but I put an SSD in it because that failed. And then we have the powerhouse HD 5500 graphics. So, without further ado, let's get into the games. So first up, we have a very easy to run web browser based game called GOFS. It is this gonna load? This is a web browser based flight simulator game. My school issued Chromebook, which has a Intel Celeron. I think it's an N4500, so dual core, TDP of like 6 watts. It can run this game fine. So if this can't run it fine, we're not looking good. But so far it's not horrible. It's by no means good. The graphics, that's just how the game is. There's nothing you can do about that. Performance-wise, it's actually running it pretty good. It's running it better than the Celeron. That's surprising, considering this is much older than that Celeron. It's clearly still more powerful than the Celeron. Let's try that again. So that really just kind of shows you how weak the Celerons really are, considering this old i3 from 2015 is outperforming the Celeron from like 2 years ago. That doesn't bode well for the Celeron's longevity. But as you can see, it is running it fine. I bet you can probably still get away with basic web browsing and video watching in this year of 2024. I don't think 1080p video will be great, because last time I tried it, 1080p video did not work very good. We're pretty much limited to a whopping 720p for video playback, but basic web browsing was still doable and buttered at landing. So let's get on to the next game. So next game up on the list, Half-Life 2. Let's go over a quick settings check here. We are currently running it at the native resolution of 1366 by 768 in full screen mode. Running most things on the high settings, a couple things a little bit lower, but in theory, if this thing is not a complete hunk of junk, it should be able to run this game at 60 FPS, which it looks like it is running quite well with most things set to high. Which, thank God, because this game really is not that hard to run, considering a Pentium 4 can run this game. So I'm thankful this can run it, albeit with a little bit of stuttering, which, okay. As you can see, this is, in my opinion, one of the more intensive areas, at least in the beginning area of the game, is this starting area, which as soon as you walk out of those doors with the sun and all these things, can sometimes slow your game down quite a bit. But you might be able to tell from the video, it is running pretty smooth, albeit with a couple stutters and a little bit of screen tearing. It's a perfectly playable and, if you dare say it, enjoyable experience on this near decade-old processor from 2015. Now keep in mind, this processor and GPU, integrated GPU, were not top of the line when it came out even. It was, as a matter of fact, pretty low end, being an i3, not an i5 or an i7. This was the pretty low end side of the 5th generation Intel laptop series chips. But it can at least run a game that can run on a Pentium 4, so I guess that's a plus. Up next, let's try Ravenfield. Ravenfield is a FPS game, first-person shooter, which again runs on pretty much a potato. It ran on a school computer that has integrated graphics with 4th gen Intel processors. So if this can't run it, I don't know what else to say. Well, I guess we're not trying Ravenfield because it crashed along with crashing the computer. So Ravenfield, unfortunately, I will not be able to test, although last time I did play it, it ran okay. Yeah, it crashed. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to test that game. So up next, if this thing can't game, can it at least stream games over Steam Link? So here we are on BeamNG driving Steam Link Remote Play with a computer on the local network. And it does seem like it can stream games quite well. Now granted, the bitrate is limited to, I believe I set it to 20 megabits, because anything above 20 to 40, it kind of stuttered a bit because the Wi-Fi card in this thing is an absolute hunk of junk. But at 20 megabit bitrate, it's running perfectly fine, albeit with reduced visual quality, of course, with only 20 megabits to play with. But it is pretty smooth, and like I said, for the fairly low bitrate, the visuals are pretty well. I mean, obviously there is the occasional stutter, but that could just be local network issues, that could be wireless, interferences. It's kind of hard to say if it's the computer's fault or what, but overall, game streaming, very doable, along as you have a good Wi-Fi connection. Obviously, Ethernet is obviously the best, but it is clearly doable on Wi-Fi with this computer. So yeah, I'm gonna move on to video streaming, and then my final verdict of this. So for this video, I'm just going to start off at 1080p, and we're going to see how 1080p runs with some status for nerds. We're going to take a look at the dropped frames, and so far, I just bit what I said earlier, because I think I said this cannot do 1080p smooth playback, but it appears that it can. Interesting, very interesting. So it does look like it's using more of the CPU than the GPU for decoding, which, okay. Let's try 1440p. See if we get any dropped frames. Wow. Just kidding. This is a great computer for watching videos on, apparently. Can it do 4K? Okay, I bit my words. It can kind of run 4K. Albeit it's a little bit stuttery. No, that is not buffering. That is just it trying to catch up. Although 4K playback does work, it's not the best. I would say you should limit yourself to 1080p to 1440p. I'd say more closer to 1080 in case something starts running in the background. You won't stutter as much while watching videos. But video playback and web browsing, it's perfectly fine. So, my final verdict with this computer. If you need something to game stream locally, works fine. If you need something to do basic web browsing and computer, I mean, this is it's fine, honestly. If you're on a budget, you need something cheap, quick, the 5th generation i3 in your laptop is still a usable chip, as long as you're not trying to run games natively. When you try and run games natively, it's just gonna crumble. The graphics power is just not there. You are going to be limited to games probably mid-2010s or earlier. That's about all you can probably run on this. Newer games probably wouldn't even launch, some of them. BeamNG Drive, I think that actually does work natively on the lowest possible settings at about 30 frames a second. So new games, playable. Depends what they are, depends on the game, depends on a lot. But like I said, you need something basic to do videos, web browsing, and you have one of these, it'll be fine. But like I said, just don't plan on playing any games, because it ain't gonna fly. Anyways, if you enjoyed, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Leave a comment with any questions or future video ideas and suggestions. The sooner we can get to 500 subs, and even 1,000, the sooner I can make money, which means the sooner I can buy a capture card and deliver even better content. Until next time, bye.